Welcome, everyone. My name is Karen, and I'll be your host today. This is the webinar for David Lynch, MFA in Screenwriting, The Secret to Inspired Screenwriting. And it'll be my pleasure to host a conversation between the program director, an associate professor, program administrator, and then we have 4 students, actually students and alumni joining us. So it's going to be a wonderful conversation. Before we get started with the panelist discussion, I want to give you a little bit of a context for our university. And I want to also welcome everyone who's joining us. In a little bit, I'm going to ask you to share a little bit about yourself. But for now, while people are joining, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Maharishi International University. The tagline is Home of Consciousness-Based Education, and has an interesting origin story in that it's really an intentional community of meditators who practice transcendental meditation and moved to Fairfield, Iowa to create a lifestyle around meditation and then all the values that go along with that. And you can see a lot of these value system principles expressed on the website. And out of this community developed a university. At that time, there were many young 20-year-olds who were excited about a different way of getting an education, one that nurtured self-development. And along the way, as the meditation got richer and richer, these other aspects of the community really blossomed. For example, natural health and wellness, a whole area developed as well. It's really natural that as you begin to develop yourself and practice meditation, you begin to take better care of yourself and your environment. Now, along the way, as the university developed, it really became a nurturing community. That's why we have the University Culture with Heart. And we have this idea of the professors who really care, because it's not just about nurturing an education, but about developing the whole self. Now, today, if you're here for David Lynch Screenwriting Program, a huge aspect of developing yourself, developing consciousness, is that creative intelligence, creativity really begins to be a huge part of what unfolds. And this technique called Transcendental Meditation Technique is something that was brought out by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who was a good friend of David Lynch. And it's a unique meditation type in that its whole process is about quieting the activity of the mind to experience more and more levels of inner depth and quietness. Now, a huge benefit for artists is that as you do that, it's like the consciousness becomes a wellspring of creative inspiration. So we're going to be hearing from our panelists today, specifically in the area of writing and screenwriting, and how that begins to blossom. Some practical points. This is an accredited nonprofit university, accredited by the Higher Learning Commission. And financial aid is available, so we want to encourage you to complete your FAFSA. There's a financial aid calculator on the website, so we encourage you to fill that out. You can get an estimate of your award. Okay, so in today's webinar, we will cover 3 areas. First of all, we want to describe the degree program in that it's namely the supportive community of passionate storytellers. It's also, we're going to talk to you about the creative process that's rooted in self-discovery. And then we also want to discuss to you the practical format. It's a flexible, low residency format, and you can study from anywhere, but there is a component where you do come to our university campus. We're ready to meet our panelists. I'm going to tell them all to turn on their videos so you can see all of them at once. Okay, so let's get started with the program director, John. Please tell us a little bit about your role and what brought you into this program and anything you think that we should know to get kind of an overview.
Sure. Thanks for that introduction, Karen. And many thanks to you and Amin for setting this up. My name is John Klepfer, and I'm an LA-based author, editor, and screenwriter, and now the director of this wonderful program. It's been just like a huge honor for me to join the David Lynch MFA in screenwriting as program director because this is a program that I went through as a student. And I just had an incredible experience meeting amazing writers, my fellow classmates, the amazing instructors that we have and the mentors that we have that teach the screenwriting courses. As you can see over my shoulder, I'm a big David Lynch fan. And, initially the David Lynch name was what attracted me to the program. I knew of him. I loved his movies. And I knew before I applied that, David was very into transcendental meditation, which I always thought was interesting and sort of intriguing. And for me, the really life-changing part of this program, going through it, was how TM helped me cut through the stress of life and like get back in touch with my creative voice and just become like a more centered, like peaceful, compassionate version of myself. And that's what this program is all about for me. And I'm always sort of amazed how I've become more centered in my own self through this program without becoming, self-centered. I've also become a much better writer in the process, and I'd love to give just everybody a quick overview of like what they could expect. If they apply to this program or join us. There's as Karen mentioned earlier, there's a in-person residency in Fairfield, Iowa, which is a really fun place to come and hang out on campus and meet everybody. And that's where you'd receive your mantra and take the 3-day course. And that sort of kicks off the semester. And then you meet your mentors, you meet your classmates, and each semester, everyone will be developing a full-length feature script and or a TV pilot. We can accommodate either one. And over the course of these 4 semesters, you're really going to be building your body of work, maintaining and developing a strong meditation practice. So that's sort of the overview. And
yeah,
should we just
well, I'm sure we'll have more questions, especially for your position as program director. So I'll just make sure to bring you back in. But that's a great overview. And I think now we can discuss a unique aspect of the first semester. So Amin Quider is the associate professor, and he's going to describe consciousness in the creative process.
Yeah, well, welcome everybody. It's good to see so many people have joined us in this webinar. First, also wanted to, address that we're all feeling a little bit, sad to have lost such an incredible human being in David Lynch. And the goal and the role of this program is to really keep his legacy alive. And he left us with this motto for the program: meditate and create. So simple, so elegant, so David Lynch. Meditate and create. Get in, learn to meditate, transcendental meditation, you would say, to take your mind from active level of thinking to quieter level of the mind, where you have an ocean of creativity, ocean of intelligence, bliss consciousness. It's there within. And in the program, the first thing that you do is you learn TM, and then I teach a course called TM and the Creative Process, where we spend a whole semester diving into what is that experience of meditating and how to unfold creativity from a deeper layer, how to listen to intuition, which David Lynch would always say is the #1 tool for the artist, and just really unfold a blossoming of creativity and bring it out to the surface. So in essence, that's what the David Lynch program gives us, is meditate and create. And you'll be writing scripts. There's fabulous mentors, fabulous classes. The classmates are just so, you'll hear from the people here. It's just such a supportive, beautiful, friendly, but very real experience. And so you grow from within as an individual, and you grow as a screenwriter and as a creative person. That's what the David Lynch legacy is. And that's what we're hoping to continue doing.
Well, what would you say to someone in second year of high school who's already interested in this MFA program? What are some things between now and the graduate level that one can do?
Well, I would say go learn transcendental meditation. And I think David Lynch would say the same.
Mm.
Go and learn transcendental meditation and start, just start making things. If your university is a thing for you, just join a program. We do have an undergraduate program in cinematic arts and new media at MIU, and you can join us. We can offer you some good stuff there. But really, just start making films, get your BA. This is an MFA, so it's a terminal degree, is a graduate level degree.
Mm.
So it's pretty on, high level.
I'm gonna put that on our students later too. I'm
Yeah,
sure
good.
they'll have a good response. Okay, Erica Richards is the program administrator. Maybe you could describe a little bit about what you've seen from the side of applying and give
Mhm.
any tips.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. It's so great to see everyone here. There are actually some names in the chat that are familiar uh, from social media. If anybody has ever made any comments or interacted at all on Facebook or Instagram, I'm the one on the other side. So it's really fantastic to see everyone here. I've been with the program since the beginning, and every year it just becomes a deeper, richer, more profound experience for me and for all of our students and everyone here. In terms of applying, Adrian can certainly help with that. I am on the side of the portfolio, which is your writing skills. So we'll ask for a screenplay. Many of our accepted applicants have never written a screenplay before, except for the one that they write as part of their application and go on to do very well. So don't let that be a barrier. We ask for a resume and a statement of purpose. And we look at the whole person. Then once we have everything in, we will make an appointment with you for an interview, and you'll meet myself and John and Amin, and we'll just have a nice chit chat. I see that there are some people in the chat that we've already talked to in that process. So that's fantastic. So anyway, thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks so much, Erica. And yes, I forgot to mention in the beginning that we have Adrian here joining us live to answer questions, which is very helpful because sometimes they're very technical questions that she can handle. So, okay, so let's move to our student and alumni panelists. We have 4 with us today. Megan, class of 25, Afrim, class of 24, and then Cody, current student, Rivers, class of 24. So let's start with Afrim. Can you tell us anything you'd like really about your experience as a student and maybe something about what you thought the program was going to be and how it ended up being for you? Take it away.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
try to take it away as much as I can. So it came before me through social media ads, and I thought, David Lynch MFA. I'm like, okay, whatever, and I let it slide. And then like a week later, I saw it again. It's like, you know what? Let me take a peek at this, and saw that it was a consciousness-based education. I was like, okay, what is that? Let's look deeper into that. And I really loved the idea. And in a nutshell, I thought, well, what's the worst that could happen? Let me apply. I was always somebody who wanted to write, but I felt maybe a little self-conscious, or that my time had passed to do this type of work, because I'm mainly an actor. And, I had this weird idea of like, oh, stay in your lane kind of a thing. And then applied, had such a beautiful experience with Erica. I mean, being on the phone, talking to her, actually very vividly remember that moment. And there's so much to say, but I'll say this. When I got in the program and learned TM, learned writing, I was a little cautious in the beginning. I'm like, okay, let's see what these people are about. Is this some woo woo, weird kind of stuff? But the reality is that it changed my life. This program changed my life for the better. It made me a capable writer. And I mean, the benefits are long, so I'll try to keep it short. But I've seen a lot of change. I've met great people, human beings that like we would work together on writing assignments in different parts of the world, have, video chats with each other, doing the work, our writing assignments, Amin's class with the TM and the creative process. Like it's so much. It really feels like a wealth of experience, and it really changed my life. It kind of, I said this before in the past to people, but it like knocked the dust off of my life, and everything felt like I was seeing in like HD or like 4K again. It was, yeah, no exaggeration. It's one of the best things I've ever done for myself.
Yeah, thank you so much. That starts off really nicely. Um, well, I think we will go to a current student now, Cody, and maybe you can share a little bit about what it was like to integrate that first semester. Sometimes it's helpful to hear what it's like to have your life going and then integrate an online program.
Definitely. Hi, I'm Cody. Oh, and I just froze. I'm back. I'm back.
You're back.
Perfect. So I'm a writer, director, and teacher in California, and so really similar to Ephraim, I saw the program online, but was looking for a program that would still allow me to work and still allow me to continue to pursue. And also remember talking to Erica and going through the admissions process around this time last year, and so I'd already learned a lot just through my BA time at film school, how to write and some brief time in the industry. But this program has been so much more than I could have wanted it to be. Uh, Going through and learning the TM process and really just accessing uh, a habitual lifestyle of meditating and then creating and being empowered with a creative community of fellow students, of mentors that it was. I didn't know how much I needed it until I was here. I didn't know how much I would love having um, someone intimately have knowledge of my work and help me progress towards a goal weekly, as well as having a group of classmates who we all know each other so well, and being able to sometimes in the industry you send off a script and you'll get notes from a producer or someone with money, and they'll be the most vague of can't relate to this character. But weekly, you're getting notes from classmates who come from a diverse background, who are just able to truly see what your story is going to become and just help elevate it to the next level. And knowing that we're in a community, starting with a means class of really focusing not just on TM, but also so many of those assignments are questions that I hadn't really asked about, like, why do I want to create art? Why am I a writer? What do I want this to become? That really just kind of holds up a mirror that starts a little foggy at first, but then continues to get clearer and clearer as the semester goes on. I still work full time. And so having a program where I am still able to have two classes once a week, and it's online, but it feels in person, with the type of intimacy that you have with the fellow students and the professors. There really is such a care to making it an authentic learning experience. I've done other courses before that, you have kind of that wall of just doing the work and sending someone money, and that's not what this program feels like. We're constantly just like Efraim said, I'm constantly in communication with my fellow students all over the US. And it's just been so cool getting to meet people from a background of songwriting, of playwrights, of actors, of other directors, of editors, and everyone trying to figure out this art in a new way. So it's been a very beneficial experience.
I think that's an immediately reassuring tone there, because we have people I think, asking, what's the demand like? So I think it's right on to express that it seemed to be doable, but also that it's a community of support. So that immediately takes down the overwhelm. Amin, did you have some questions? You caught some in the Q&A that you thought would be good for John.
Well, someone was asking about, financing the program. Maybe, Rivers was kind of graduated. How do you feel like you were prepared, on the business side a little bit? And then maybe John, if you want to react to that.
Hi. Uh, I'm out here in LA. I'm an actor, writer, new filmmaker, and I had some people, when I told them I was going to do this, tell me that's crazy. You don't need to get your master's in screenwriting, you just need to write. And why that program? Why not USC or something? And it was partly me following my intuition and just, yeah, I got financial aid and I just trusted that there's going to be a way. I'll figure it out. I paid off undergrad. I can figure this out. And being realistic too, like about graduating, it doesn't mean you're going to get hired into a writer's room right away. So everybody has their jobs, their day jobs, and it never felt like similar to what Cody was saying. I was able to still have my life and never feel completely overwhelmed. That consciousness-based education, like that's the principle, is to nourish students and to create uh, a schedule, an atmosphere, a community that feels very supportive. And there's some confidence too that I got from that support that makes me feel like everything is possible. I mean, if you're out here, you already have to believe that. And if you join this program, that's you feeding your soul, like creativity. You're following something that you really want to do. So it doesn't really matter how, the business part, that's like a plus, it's extra. We had a really great class right before I graduated where I learned so much about the business that I didn't know before, directly from people in the business. And that was super valuable. And I still keep in touch with some of them. So I feel like it really did set us up for after graduation too.
Thank you for handling the super practical question about finances, but also that piece about nourishing your soul. How much more practical can that be, really, if you're attending to that part of you? And I've heard from some students from this program that maybe this came later in their life after they hadn't done that part of feeding their soul. And then you get to a point where you're like, oh yeah, I have to do that. It's very important.
Yeah, I do want to say one thing because I want to make sure to be able to like reassure people in regard to the screenwriting aspect. You meet industry professionals and not just in some whimsical flash in the pan way. Like you really connect with these people. You're connected via email, sometimes phone numbers, personal Zoom sessions. You're learning about all different ways to apply and present your screenplay, from festivals to people, how to reach out. Letters that are professional ways of reaching out. Like these are parts of the process that you're actually learning. So it's not just this kind of, don't be misled to think that it's just, everything's going to fall out of the sky. Like maybe the consciousness for the ideas, but you're actually learning very practical tools to move your career, your creativity forward and in a wholesome way, in a way that's actually really beneficial. So be greatly reassured that the business aspect, the technical aspect is really there and well rooted as well.
Perfect. Thank you. That's good, because this is as practical to the career as it is for, I guess, the soul, you could say. Megan, this question is coming up and I'm wondering if you could take it, but the David Lynch name, how exactly does that enter into the study or the process? Is it his process that he's bringing in? Is there something about his name and aura that sort of is in the background? Can you speak to that part?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, when I applied to the program, I didn't apply because of social media, which was unusual for all my classmates. But I knew David Lynch, the name, obviously. I hadn't seen everything he'd done. But now we had a whole semester learning about his writing and his creative process and his films, and it like just completely opened my mind and my eyes to like how he goes about storytelling and the way you're able to tell a story through his eyes. It was just mind blowing. So now I'm a very big fan of even more of a big fan of David Lynch now. Um, but yeah, I really appreciate the way the school the with the consciousness-based learning, it's about me as a learner, and with the TM as like the top priority of making sure I'm able to learn how I learn versus read this book, study, study, study. For me, when I meditate, I had never experienced that before, and it just unlocks this different part of my brain. I don't know. It's like it opens up and it lets ideas flow more freely. I'm less critical of myself, especially in my writing. Like he was always very, David Lynch was always very much like meditate and create. And it's such a easy thing to say, and it's an easy thing to do too. It's like just meditating is just, yeah, it just opened my eyes. Sorry, I'm just rambling, but
No, you're good.
it's such a,
Yeah.
yeah, it's such
Mhm.
a amazing process. It's hard to describe sometimes.
Yeah, the meditate and create piece is like this methodology. And, my understanding is that it's a process that unfolds, especially through the first semester. And
Mhm.
it can feel abstract, but beautiful insights unfold.
Yeah.
So now to the students, the four of you, can you speak a little bit broadly to maybe some of the writing background that would be beneficial? I see someone's coming in from an MFA in creative writing. There was that high school student that might be thinking 6 years ahead. What are some writing guidelines that you could give? And you can pop your hand up if you feel to respond. Okay, go for it, Rivers.
I did not have a background in screenwriting. And I remember speaking to Erica about admissions before I applied and telling her what I'd worked on. The extent of it was really sketch writing. I went through UCB's program and I loved writing sketches, but I was a poet like my whole life. And she said that would be very useful. And I was like, oh, okay. And in order to apply, I had gotten COVID that spring before I applied. And when I got it, I was stuck inside for like a solid 2 weeks, writing my little butt off, completing my first screenplay and a pilot and a few short films. I was just like on one, and I somehow cranked it out. And I thought, okay, well, let's just see what happens. I'll just apply, see what happens. I don't know if like my writing is strong enough. I don't know. I would love the mentorship, but I just threw it out there. And I do think that background in comedy, in sketch, in poetry has been super valuable. The descriptiveness, when we break down scripts in our classes, we would look at action lines and things like that, and you start to see the poetry in it. And you're like, wow, the Duffer Brothers, like the way they write, it's everything in your life informs you as a screenwriter. So use all of it. And it doesn't mean you had to have this in your BA or BFA or anything before.
That's actually the perfect first response, I think. I'm also, everybody else has something to say too, but I remember that Amin invited John to give a reaction. I didn't know if you had something prepared, either from an earlier question or just in general, if you wanted to add anything.
Yeah. I mean, just, going back to David Lynch and, his, what he sort of brought to the program and encouraged us all to do. The things I remember the most are, very, insistent on staying true to the idea, and taking joy in the doing, on a daily basis. Don't get caught up in like what this project is going to do to you. Can I sell it? Just really enjoying the work, and the creative process, and sort of refining your intuition along the way so you can make the right decisions on the spot. And that's sort of what I think is special about this program too, is there's just a lot of artistic freedom that we give our students to, you know, do that weird original idea you have. We want you to go to do that, and we are, you know, we're going to support you that vision, but we're also going to, you know, give you the tools and the craft and the mentors to see it through and make it come out the best way it can. But really staying encouraging everyone to stay true to their own ideas and not what they think the marketplace wants or this or that. But like that's what, because I think ultimately that's what the marketplace does want is you and how you express the ideas that are coming from inside. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, that's powerful coming from the director. Okay. Afrin, where did you want to take this conversation?
Oh, I was just going to say in regard to writing background, I think three things come up for me quickly. One is when I applied, I had the extent of my writing was a comic book that I had started, and when I did the admissions process, I converted that comic book story into a screenplay, which I had never done, or I attempted to, and I think anyone who applies, like, you don't need to come from a writing background. You could have little experience, you could have a ton of experience. It's all going to be able to mesh perfectly with what's taught here. And what John was saying about the idea being paramount, like it's the most important thing because it's the first thing that popped up in the whole process, whether that came out of meditation or you woke up out of a dream or something out of a journal. It's like nurturing that idea. And yeah, you don't need to have written in the past. You could be an amazing, well-established writer, or you could be someone like me who was kind of in the beginning, middle process of the whole thing. And it will work out and it'll absolutely be worth it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And with Megan or Cody, I'm wondering if one of you has a moment with David Lynch you could share, not to put you on the spot, but if you did, I'd love to hear it, or whatever else you had planned to say. Megan? No.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have three Zoom meetings with David Lynch, and I spoke during all three, but it was my last one. We had a student who she had, wasn't my question, but she had a very beautiful question about the afterlife, and um her father had passed, and he just gave this beautiful answer that just brought us all to tears then and now still. um but just the way he speaks about meditation, like he just goes back to meditation for everything, and it's so true. He meditated pretty much his entire life, and it's very inspiring to me because I work in the industry as well, and it's hard to keep those meditations regular when you're working like 14-hour days on set. But it really does help with your creative process and just de-stressing yourself. If I can, during lunch, if I can do a quick little 10-minute TM and just kind of reset myself, you really feel refreshed afterwards. And it is very, very true. Yeah.
Explain de-stressing, because it becomes an in-house term, but what is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just letting things go. I hang on to so much anxiety and negative energy, especially being on set with, hundreds of people screaming at each, not screaming, but how it gets stressful, high stakes, money is at stake and all that. But just clearing your mind and letting things go, and like just getting back to kind of you and your center, and not letting things bug you as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cody, love to hear from you.
Yeah, I was in my class was the last group that got to do a Q&A with David, and I'm kicking myself forever because I deferred my question to the spring. So I unfortunately did not get to ask him a question in person, but it's you feel his influence all over the program, and just there's just so much of him that is out there, whether that's in his book Catching the Big Fish, which is just such a, like, honestly, a mentor text that we read in a means consciousness class that first semester, that really just was very game changing. And now I just continue to return to other things that he has said about art and about writing. And I guess I want to answer the other question about writing experience from the other ends. I've come from where I have sold scripts. I've been writing for the past decade. I've worked in an adapting place, but I'm so much more of I'm a better writer now than I was when I started, because I'm finally writing for myself. I'm finally not trying to write for a market or a budget or a quota. I am instead writing for, like, wow, these are the stories that have been, haunting my dreams for years. These are the images that I have sketched down, and these are the new tools that I get to try. So I'm not the same writer that I thought that I already was. And even going back to older ideas and older scripts, I've just been able to see them with a new light from this as well. So I think for anyone that's wondering, like, should I do an MFA? Like, I think this has been so incredibly worth it, even with coming from a background of already, having the technical knowledge of screenwriting.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that perspective too. Okay, so let's see. I'm so engrossed I can't really manage the chat. Let me see what I have here. Okay, so we want Amin to take this question. Does the first semester program change for anybody who's been meditating already for years?
Yeah, so the if you have learned transcendental meditation before, when you come to the residency, instead of learning TM, you'll do a refresher TM course with me, and we'll just kind of give you a boost to whatever you've experienced before. And then in the course TM and the creative process, I've had TM teachers take that course, and they tell me they got a lot out of it, because it's designed and set up in a way where you're deepening your experiences with TM and you're understanding your experience of TM as you move through the semester. But also the topics that we explore in my class are loosely linked to the topics that you're studying in screenwriting. I'll give you an example. There's like a lesson on nature of desire. And one of the assignments in your writing, you're writing about your characters. We set it up so that it's the week that you're writing about your character and what is the desires of your character. But you're studying this about yourself, nature of desire, and its role in the creative process. And you're studying it in one class, and then in the other class, it's getting reinforced in a different way. So there's enough new things, even if you've been a meditator for a long time, to where you can extract a lot of value out of that class, I'd say.
All right, thank you so much for that. And I'm going to have you address in a little bit the practicalities of transcendental meditation, and if you have any advice about when to learn it, especially for your program. Okay, we have to head towards wrapping up. So I'm going to head to Erica. I think we need a practical point here. I hear your name coming up a lot with the students, so you must have been very intimately involved with preparing them. But could you give us an overview of the structure? Like, what happens first? When does the low residency happen, etc.?
Yeah, so you apply, and we look through your portfolio. Admissions looks through your transcripts and your letter of recommendation, and then we look at the whole picture. And then we ask for an interview. We interview you, and then we send you a letter of the outcome of the interview and everything that we've processed. And we look at things very, very carefully. So this is not something that we just rush through. And then once you receive your letter of acceptance, admissions sends you a letter of acceptance and ask for you to commit to enrollment. And once you do that, that starts you on the road to now financial aid knows that you are applying, and they keep an eye out for you with your FAFSA paperwork. And then over the course of the next couple of months, you'll get some emails from me getting you ready for your residency. Things to bring, how to prepare, what you need to do to prepare to learn TM, because most of you will be learning during the residency as a group, which is great. And then when the residency begins, I think August 18th, it's 5 days, but you will get all that information. It's around the beginning of August, and you'll be here for 5 days learning TM, meeting industry professionals, growing together, eating together, really forming a bond, which is a very special time, as everyone here will tell you that's been through the process. And then off you go. And we pair you with your mentors, and then you are with your cohorts, which are about 5 or 6 or 7 people per cohort with your mentor, depending on your genre and what your goals are. And we also spend a lot of time making sure that you are connected with the right people. And
Perfect. Thank you.
pretty much it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. So that gives us a good picture. Adrian, do you have any tips from your viewpoint as admissions counselor? Any practical suggestions or?
Erica pretty much covered it. It's great if your recommendation can come from somebody in the industry or adjacent, ideally. And get your transcripts to us as early as possible, because that's usually the thing that holds people up.
Yeah.
So that's all, really.
That's what holds up getting the final yes from admissions.
Yeah.
You don't want to push that too closely to when you need to arrive and get your financial aid sorted.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So in the last 5 minutes, we want to just give you some practical information again. And okay, so the Visit Fairfield piece, some of you might not have noticed that Marshall International University is located in Fairfield, Iowa. That's the southeast part of Iowa State. So when you do the low residency, you're going to see it. It's pretty unique in that the university has a meditation hall. That's what the Golden Dome is all about. So there's some things about it that are not quite Iowa, and I think you'll enjoy the vibe. There's that financial aid bit again. Okay, so almost every website has, well, every page on the website has the apply button. That's just to show you how easy it is to fill out the application form. The next entry is August 2025. We have other ways to interact with us if you're still wanting to get a little bit more information. We have more webinars. We do about 2 a month. Some of them are more generally about the culture. Others are more program specific, like this one. The next visitor is Saturday. You can actually come and visit. So the next one is May 3rd. And then you can also request to meet a professor. So the tm.org bit, okay, that's the website for learning Transcendental Meditation. Once you're accepted to the program, you can learn Transcendental Meditation for free at no additional cost. So I want Amin to give a little bit of specific information, what he recommends. He did mention, okay, well, you can take that away and then
Sure.
go ahead.
Okay. So, like I think we've mentioned multiple times, everybody practices transcendental meditation in the program. So if you come in straight during the residency, we have people learn together. We have TM teachers. So you don't have to learn TM before joining the program or anything like that. You come in and we all kind of like learn together. But if you're really curious about TM and you just kind of want to dip your feet in the water and feel it out and see if this is the right thing for you, then there are TM centers all around the country. And if you go to tm.org, you can type in your zip code and you find a TM center near you, so you can ask questions, you can learn if you'd like. And if you learn before coming to us, we'll still take good care of you, and we'll make sure that your meditation is smooth and effortless and enjoyable throughout the process. If you learn TM, I believe this is still accurate. If you learn TM and then you enroll to the program, you get the cost of your TM reimbursed, basically. And the other thing is, part of this program is the David Lynch Foundation actually sponsors your TM. So when you come and learn TM in the program, the cost is offset by David Lynch Foundation. So you can think of it as like David Lynch is paying for your meditation, basically.
What is that? What is the David Lynch Foundation?
David Lynch Foundation is, a nonprofit organization that's been running around for many, many years. They do incredible work. I worked with them for 5-6 years. And whenever there's a population that's at risk of high stress, it started in schools, inner city schools. They teach transcendental meditation as part of the different programs. The more recent program that they're doing is they're helping people with the LA fires that have experienced a lot of trauma. I just watched a video that was in North Carolina. They taught TM to a bunch of people that, the flooding that happened there. So they're doing incredible work, and they're always there. And the CEO of the David Lynch Foundation, Bob Roth, is often a guest speaker in my class, TM in the Creative Process. So it's like one big family, really connected. I feel like I had a big privilege to spend so much time with David Lynch and just kind of get to know him. And I did want to say something about the program, and maybe John can echo something else too. This program is about David Lynch is one of the most authentic human beings I've ever met. It's like the most himself person I've ever met in my life. And when he set up this program, he didn't want to set a program where people become David Lynch. He wanted to set a program where people become more and more of themselves in it. So you're not going to write absurd or, like Lynchian films necessarily. That's not what this program is about. It's about giving you a tool to get to know who you are on the deepest level, and folding who you are, and then writing and creating so that you can bring who you are to the surface. That authentic storytelling. It's about getting to know who you are and bringing it to life through your writing, through your creative work. And that's really kind of what we're about.
Yeah,
Ultimately.
thank you.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We're not churning out Lynch clones here. It's if you have an idea that sort of is Lynchian and it comes from you, and that's fine. But yeah, if you want to write rom-coms, if you want to write comedies, if you want to write crime thrillers, I mean there's whatever you are feeling like inside of you that you need to get out. Like that's what we're here to help you do. And the last thing I'll say about Lynch, even though he's not, with us anymore, he's still with us. And I sort of take great comfort in the fact that we get to live in a world that had the best version of David Lynch. I feel like he achieved like maximum potential as an artist, as a human being. And I'm just thrilled to like live in the same world that he lived in.
Thank you so much for the final statement, and to emphasize very much that David lives on. It's kind of his viewpoint as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, John, Program Director. And thank you, Erica, for supporting everybody. And to our students, panelists, thank you so much for your time. It's always the highlight.